This is GU. This is the trade that I seen that I thought was pretty interesting because it's a clean it has clean structure. So I thought this was pretty interesting, and I can go over it. So overall, we're gonna start from over here from the beginning. I believe I went over this trade before in the past, like in a video I did, but we're gonna do it again. So price came down and ended up making this low here, and we also made this high here. So now we know we have a low, but the only reason we'll take sales is if price continues lower. So now price made a high and we're looking for price to continue lower. But when it came down, it didn't continue lower, and this would have been a high and this would have been a higher low. So at this point, we're looking for now price to confirm that it's bullish by breaking this high. Price comes up and targets this high here. So in a sense, if you was to do it like that, you would have broke down, let's say, would have went down to this level, went down to like, let's say the 5 minute again. Let's say we went down to the 5 minute again and we was looking at it here. We seen price was breaking lows. Let's see if it was our session. It was the session. I believe this one trades both New York and London. I don't know for sure. I don't trade forex pairs, but I noticed that there's a high here. Price is continuing higher, so we're looking for price to come back above, stay above this level in a sense of if we was looking for price to be bullish. And then it did, and it was targeting this high. So if you was in that session, you would have been taking that trade like this, with price having this high here, price breaking and closing above this high, and indicating that price is bullish, and you would have been targeting that high. But we're looking for, most of the time, you want to look for swing trades when it comes to trading forex pairs, because sometimes they don't move. Like me personally, whenever I trade them, they don't be moving, but long term they do move. So we're just gonna look at it like this. Price ends up coming up to this high, trying to break that high, then we get a break here. So now this would indicate price is bullish, and then we would be taking positions around this level. It doesn't matter where you get in as long as you're playing price above here only. It doesn't matter where you get in as long as you know that price above here is bullish. So you can put your stop loss under the lows. You can put it like around this level, but mostly you want to target the lows. But anywhere you can enter all the way up here, as long as you know that price is above this level, and it can still, as long as it stays above this level or stays above this low, then you're good. So could have been doing that. And then if you was looking for the swing trade, you would have been targeting up here. You could have been targeting these highs. So you could have been targeting this high right here, the highest point it got to after making a low, the highest point it got to. You can even target here if you wanted to. But the main one that is most obvious to me is this one up here. So that's what we're going to be looking for right now. So now we're going to continue to see what happens with price. And I'm going to break it all down. So price ends up making a high. We get some pullbacks, some slight pullbacks. And now a new high is made. We're still making new highs. It's kind of consolidating, but it's still making new highs. And then we finally reach that area that we was targeting, and then price continues higher. So now we're looking at price like, okay, price got a new high in the market. Now we can see some pullback after all this consolidation. It finally reached both our areas, and price has a new high in the market. As you see, price came lower. Excuse me. As you see, price came lower after making this high, so that is what we want. We don't want to continue to see price come up. So now we're looking for all trades higher than this, or you can see price coming back down to the support level, but we want to see trades higher than this or higher than a high. So we want to see price come back above here before we trade, because now it's breaking lows. So if you was looking at it like this, you can even say you wanted to take trades like that. Let's say if you want to take a short-term trade, you could have been looking at it the same way as the one in the beginning, same way with the one that's in the beginning. But we could do it like this. So price has a low. Price came up into our area. This is the top of it. So this is what it looked like when we finally hit our second TP. It came up to this area, kind of consolidated, and we had lows here, and then we had highs here. So then we had highs here. So then price ends up breaking a low. You could have been taking all positions under this low. You can even say, let's just say under this low, you could have been taking all positions under here. So in this area, you could have put your stop loss above the high, Could have put your stop loss above the high. And you could have been first targeting here. Or you could have been targeting, let's say down here. You could have been targeting this. It's pretty wild, but you could be targeting any one of these lows. Could have been targeting this one. So that's just another trade that you could have took. Price continues down, it's trending down, it's got a new low, no new highs. Price comes up, makes this high, pulls back, makes another high. So you in this area, you'd be like, okay, but remember what I said earlier. So most people would have been like, but it's going up, it's bullish. But remember what I said earlier when we was looking at the higher time frame. We want all trades to come back above. We want all trades to come back above this high right here. So we want all trades to come right back above this high. At this moment, we're looking for this high. No, my apologies. I said this high. I said this high. I said this high. I said this high because that's why that line is there. So you've been looking for all trades back above that high. But in this moment of time that we see it, it would have still been valid above this one. But remember, we broke it down on a smaller time frame before we seen all of this. So before any of that formed up here, we would have been looking for all trades back above this level. But in this scenario, it would have been good to, as we see price now, it would be good to see price back above here. If that makes any sense. We see that it sold off, but let's say we've seen this and it came back up. We're looking for trades above here. So price has a high, price has highs now, and then price has a low. So remember, we're still in that sell trade. You can even say you took partials. We're in that sell trade and price starts to make its way back up. Remember, we're looking for price back above here. Price gets to its highest point and then it starts to sell off again. So you can also break it down. Let's say you didn't catch the trade, could have broke it down just like this. Price has a low, price has a low, price makes a low. So let me just go ahead and mark them out. Price makes a low here, price makes a low here, and price makes a low here. You could have been looking for sales under this low, first looking for it to break here. So price ends up breaking that low, taking entries here. You can even say you took an entry here, stop loss above this line here. So you could have been like this, taking entries here, stop loss above the previous high. Because if price is breaking highs, that means it's buying. And then you could have been targeting that level again that you had the first time. And remember, we can always hold our trade if we're trading with whatever trend is going on. So right now in this moment, price is on this downtrend and we could have been targeting this and we could have caught this whole move. Price is still going. And remember, we was targeting as well some more lows that was down here. So let's see if we can get down to that level, because when price is selling, it's targeting lows, and when price is buying, it's targeting highs. Alright, so we continue down. Let's see if we can get to that level. Still consolidating, still consolidating. And it's starting to break some. It's still consolidating. Alright, so I'm assuming that that's the lowest it wanted to go. We're gonna continue, but I think that's the lowest it wants. Yeah, it starts breaking highs now. So now it starts breaking highs. That is the lowest it wants to go. So to this low was the lowest it wanted to go. So to this low was the lowest that it wanted to go. And remember, we was on the uptrend. We just got done creating a new high. So we're gonna pay attention to that as well. We're gonna remember that price here, and we was looking for price coming to these lows, but it didn't come to those lows. And let's say you could still be in this buy trade as well, targeting up here as well. So remember that. So remember all the trades that we took in between here, and that's what you'd have been looking at as well. Alright, so now we have price coming back above these highs, and we're looking for price to continue higher. So now we can see if price is going to continue higher here. Let's see. Price is holding up as support. It's using, yeah, there we go. So that, yeah, there we go. Alright, so we finally did come back down to this low. I remember something coming down to this low. I'm not even gonna lie. I remember something coming down to this low. Yeah, so we ended up coming to that low. Yeah, we ended up coming to that low. And did it come lower? Yeah, it did. There we go. I knew I wasn't tripping. I was like, I could have sworn because when price is selling, it goes to the low. So I'm like, all right, it stopped right here. That was kind of weird when there's a low right here. All right, so yeah, that's there we go. There we go. I was like, man, that's so weird that it didn't like it came halfway. All right, so yeah, so now we can be looking for all trades above that high that it did make. We could be looking for, buy trades back above here because that is valid for buys once it's breaking these highs as well. So yeah, we did come to those lows, finally hit it, even though we've been took our trade out, but it did finally hit. Remember, when price is selling, it's coming to the lows, and then when price is buying, it's going to the highs. I honestly thought it was weird that it stopped right here, but it eventually did come down to those lows after trying to fake us out. It did come in and retest these previous lows as well, so I had to take that in consideration. And you should never been looking for any buys yet until remember back above here, or remember earlier back above here, but mostly back above here. So price ended up retesting this area and then continuing lower. Now we're in this consolidation area trying to see if we're going to break the resistance. If it does break resistance, I mean not resistance, support, my apologies. If it does break support, it's most likely coming back down to this level. So we're going to see what happens here. Price is still breaking lows, trying to get lower, trying to get lower. All right, so now price is now breaking highs. So now price is buying up. If we was to jump down onto, like, let's say back on the 5 minute again, if we was jumping back down on the 5 minute again, we'll be looking at this like, okay, price has highs here, it broke that high. You could say you took a trade, let's say price is breaking here, and let's say you was just targeting, let's just say you was targeting. First, you could have targeted this high, but I'll be looking at this high, honestly. If it was me, I would have been looking at that high to see if price is going to come up to there. Let's see. Oh, that's a new one. All right, so price continues. Yeah. I should have stayed with what I said first. Been looking for price above here. That was my fault. I should have stayed with price coming back above here. Yeah. All right, so yeah, I should have waited for price. That is my fault. I should have waited for price to come back above this high. I should have waited for price to come back above this high before I said buys, but yeah, that's my fault. Price did uptrend his way back up, trying to retest in this area, and then ended up selling off, and then we're coming back down to this one. Yeah, that was my fault. Should have waited for price to come back above here. So this would have been valid, but I was jumping the gun, and that's what happens when you jump the gun. But yeah, looking for price to come back above these highs first. We have to wait for price to come back above these highs first. Because this is the low point, this is the high point, this is the low point, this is the high point, and that high point wasn't higher than this one. So this technically would have been a lower high and then a lower low. That was me jumping the gun. Get that mistake. All right, so price ends up continuing down. Let's see if it comes down to that level of support.